Freaking podcast, Adam.
Freaking podcast is back.
Yeah. Here we are. You had a cord go bad,
It's always something. I mean, it's it's the podcast.
and it didn't move. That's the thing. The cord did not move.
It has literally sat here for how many days?
Yep.
And nothing's changed.
The old
It's just-
podcast.
It's just the old podcast.
We have
really.
a guest today.
Here he is.
In studio, the Mr. Oklahoma Bowhunter. But it's not about you, which is awesome. But, Kreg, I want to give you a chance. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, all that great stuff.
Yeah, man. Brad, thanks for having me. My name's Kreg Griffith. We kind of came up with the idea to promote bow hunting in Oklahoma. My brother, my cousin are big hunters,
Yeah.
and we wanted a way to celebrate with other bow hunters. And when we grew up, we went to check-in stations and
Oh,
getting your
man.
deer weighed, and on the wall there would be Polaroid pictures of just local hunters in our area.
So
And
where was the checkout station you grew up going to as a kid?
So that was in Anadarko, which
Okay.
would be Caddo County,
Yeah.
and my uncle got me and my brother hunting. My dad didn't hunt, so we all of my hunting stories and things, come from him and him getting us out, waking us up early in the morning when we hated to.
Yeah.
And so I give him all the credit for that.
So, it's funny you brought up way stations because that was such a cool thing as a kid for me, too. At Raiden, Oklahoma, at the old Raiden shortstop. And that, everybody back there, there'd be a waiting
Raiden
line.
shortstop.
The Raiden shortstop. And there was a line. Like, people would, you'd back up with the tailgate down and, you'd hook on and string them up. And you had to go in and check it in, which we don't do that now, but it brought about, like, it was this. Like everybody's sitting around, having a biscuit. I'm over there drinking my chocolate
You know what I
milk.
would do for a biscuit right now?
Oh man, I hear you. But I would remember sitting around there to be just like but it was this fellowship, like it was this community. And so if you're not familiar with, if you're not an Okie, which I know a ton of our listeners aren't Okies, but in Oklahoma, Craig started this thing called Oklahoma Bowhunter, and he wanted to unite a place, like you said, for bow hunters to be able to celebrate being a bow hunter and to share that through social media. And so that's kind of been your main platform for doing that, right?
Correct. Yeah. Like I said, my cousin and my brother, we just wanted something together. So we got on Facebook and created first name Oklahoma, second name Bowhunter. And back then there wasn't business pages.
It's original.
There wasn't like pages. There was just a friend that you could add.
Yeah, so it was the actual friend page, the
Yep.
Oklahoma Bowhunter as a person.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
okay.
you could only have 5,000 friends. And so I remember having people message me and be like, hey, man, this guy's from Texas. Can you delete him, add me so I can follow the page? And it just made it simple to tag Oklahoma Bowhunter on anyone that killed a deer, and they could follow it, and it just kind of all started then in 2010. So
Yeah, so it started in 2010. And so basically what it is if you're a bow hunter, and it doesn't even have to be an animal killed in Oklahoma, but if you're an Okie and you kill an animal, they're able to send that to you through social media, primarily Facebook, but you're on Instagram too.
Yep.
And they can send that to you, and you submit it. But here's the deal. We've talked about this today before we started, because you don't want just any picture.
correct.
You want quality pictures, and you've kind of pushed for that and asked guys, and you've even had people that you told them, I'm not going to post your picture, not to be a jerk, but it's about being respectful and taking a great picture. So talk about that a little bit too, like how the reasoning behind it, and the requirements you would have for somebody that's an Oklahoma Bowhunter wants to submit a picture to you.
Okay, so I've kind of graduated to get where I'm at, but at first I would post any picture that you sent in. As long as it was a bow kill, I would post it on there just so people could celebrate. I was so excited to get pictures from all over Oklahoma. And I average in the last 11 years about 600 photos a year, which is a ton for any hunting website that's out there. Some guys only post like 30 pictures
from
a state.
Yeah.
So to get that many photos is awesome. But the backlash comes from someone's grandma that sees my Facebook page, and she's writing me a negative message about 5 minutes long about how she was offended by the photo. And so then I started coaching people on how to take a better photo, so I didn't get that backlash.
Right.
So I just said, imagine if you were going to post this picture on the front page of a bow hunting magazine, how would you want this photo displayed? And so try to take it with that kind of quality, because not only does it look good on social media, but then for the rest of their life, they have a good quality photo of that bow kill.
Well, on the flip side of this, I think us as hunters need to be aware that we're under scrutiny, right? And so we don't need to give ammo, because also we want to promote this. And that's what I love about what Oklahoma Bowhunter is that you want to promote the sport of bow hunting in the state of Oklahoma as Oklahoma Bowhunters. And it's about getting more people doing the sport too. Like, it's like growing it. Like you said, man, your dad didn't hunt. You're thankful you had an uncle that did that. Hopefully that'll spur on people to say, I want to be involved in bow hunting. Like Adam, like it'll be brand new for him. Like Adam's like, all right,
I'm ready to get it done.
He's a new Oklahoma Bowhunter.
Yeah.
And like, that's awesome. Has he killed an elk? Yes.
Yes.
Has he killed a 140-inch 9-pointer?
Yes.
Yes. How long has he hunted in both of those hunts? An hour and 20 minutes. Do I hate him? Yes. For it. He kind of sucks because he's the red panda and he's lucky. But with all that being said, I know it's about the promotion of it, and us as hunters being responsible and going, okay, we need to make this animal look good. Like I tell my guys, when you're taking pictures, the same thing. Like, we're looking for quality. And so it's super easy. One of the first things I do when I walk up on my animal is I cut the tongue out. I walk up and I grab the deer, I pull his tongue out, and I cut it off with my pocket knife. Because I hate when this deer standing there, he got that, tongue hanging out, right? I tell our guys to carry a bottle of water in the backpack and paper towels so we can clean up some of the blood. Obviously, you can't always get it all the time, but we want to clean the animal up to make it respectable, because like you said, there is a chance with what we do that it ends up in some publication. It ends up in some catalog of a sponsor. And so we want it to look good, so it's about that quality picture, right?
Yeah. And I believe we've done a good job of educating people on how to take a better photo. And it's really neat to see other states not necessarily copy it, but they want to be a part of that same kind of community. And so now there's tons of other states that kind of do the same thing. But I think I was one of the first to kind of put a stamp on it, watermark it, and then give it some credibility.
Right.
Because back in the day, my biggest pet peeve was you'd get an email from somebody and it'd be 10 chains long and the story would be completely wrong.
Yeah.
And with Facebook, I could tag that person in it, and that keeps the story legit. Instead of being killed in Anadarko, it was, killed in Ardmore, because the story just went.
They're both A's.
Yeah. But
they were close,
it
right?
keeps the credibility. But I've had bow hunters that submitted a bow kill, and then their own family member messaged me and said, hey, here's a better picture, and they actually shot it with a black powder. And so then I just had to delete the photo because it wasn't a
legit black powder. They just want it on the...
They want it on the page. And so I really try to make sure that they post their bow in the photo. The most important thing is to turn the phone sideways and do a landscape photo,
right?
Because it allows
not vertical but sideways, and then take 10 or 15 photos, so that way I have options to post and to give them a better photo that goes online for sure,
and from multiple angles.
Yes,
like get low, get high, get from the side, get from all. Don't take 15 pictures standing in the same spot and knock them all out, because that's not going to do anything at all. But getting those cool angles is what makes it all. That's all the difference in the world, is making that angle.
Well,
change.
it's just, like Adam over here. Like Adam's, he's a handsome man. Okay, and his left
say beautiful.
His left side is definitely his photogenic side. Would you agree with that? You look at him, you think it's definitely the left side.
Oh yeah, this right side, there's this mole here that grows hairs out of it.
It's my gosh, disgusting.
It's strange.
Okay. But I would say, like, for a deer, like, there's a magic spot for a deer as well, right? So there's a place where that deer is going to look its best. What angle makes that deer look the best? And I'm not talking about, like, the one, I'm not, you know what I mean? The full extension. Like, back here he is.
Yeah. The reach,
that's when you catch that
gets some backlash a little bit.
The reach gets some backlash a little bit, but you can do it in a way where you find an angle where the deer looks good.
Yeah,
and I think that's why taking
a picture in the daylight makes the deer look better.
For sure.
And then making sure they have a natural background. Some bow hunters will take it in a garage. We just don't post photos in the back of a four-wheeler or the back of inside of a building. We really try to. You can just take it outside and put it in front of a cedar tree in your yard, and it looks like you're in the woods.
Right.
So you know, it looks better if it's in the field, but to take a natural photo looks better than a sidewalk or, someone's truck parked back behind it. So try to do a good natural background setting.
The Walmart parking lot.
Yeah,
Walmart. The Walmart parking lot. Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to tell them which Walmart you're hunting close to, so it's.
Oh yeah. There's probably some towns where there's a big buck walking around behind Walmart. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some of them town deer going.
You know who'd kill him?
Paul Powers.
Yes, he would.
Yeah, he would. I hate that guy. That guy, he would kill him immediately. He's the big buck slayer.
It's not fair.
I know. I'm not even going to talk about his trail camera pictures.
It's ridiculous.
It's stupid. But anyway, but that's obviously like you sell merchandise for Oklahoma Bowhunter, but it's not even about like profit. It's about I almost view it as a camaraderie, because for me, one of the coolest things is like I'm driving through traffic in Oklahoma City and you see that Oklahoma Bowhunter sticker in somebody's window. Like, it's like, we're on the same path. Like, I know that. Like, it's almost like an immediate.
It's an identifier.
Yeah, like I don't want to cut him off in traffic. You know what I mean? Like, immediately I'm like, well,
he's probably having a rough day.
That's my brethren. I'm not gonna cut him off. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit too. Just like even with merchandise, like it's about this camaraderie that's brought through.
I was very hesitant to sell gear because I didn't want to be like a TV show. I didn't want to push a product. But what I found
Thanks, Kreg.
Yeah, what are you saying, Kreg?
Yeah, what are you saying,
what
buddy?
I found was...
Kreg, you're kind of high-roading us a little bit here, buddy.
Wow, okay.
What I found was people wanted to display their truck or put it on their boat case to let them know they're from Oklahoma and they're a bow hunter. And it's really created that community that we talked about. Is I had a guy hunting out in western Oklahoma. He drove 3 hours to hunt, and he never knew his neighbor. And one day he ran into him at the gas station and talked to him because he had an Oklahoma Bowhunter sticker on his truck. And now they work together, and they share trail cam photos, and they would never probably connected each other if it wasn't for that sticker. I mean, maybe they might have seen one of them on Oklahoma Bowhunter that he killed it and maybe messaged it, but it was such a natural...
But it helped the odds, right? Of them being able to connect and work together.
It was such a natural connection
that
they already were like-minded, and now they work together, and they kill bigger deer because they're working together, and they're happy for each other when another one gets the same deer that they've had on camera.
Yeah, see, that's really, really cool. So I kind of had a similar, a guy was bow hunting, and he's our neighbor across the road, and, was able to stop, and I saw him walking out one night. I was leaving. He's, like, getting into his truck, and so I'm like, I want to know him, you know? And so I pull up, and he was in the Air Force, leases this ground next to us. Like, we're getting pictures of the same deer. We're hunting the same deer. But I was like, hey, I just wanted to visit with you and talk about, this, what's your goals? Like, or what are you hunting for? And he's like, oh, I'm after trophy deer. And I'm like, me too. Yeah. And so we talk about it. And that year I had a 3-year-old that had 18 points. He was an 18.3-year-old. And he wasn't very wide, but you just knew this deer has a chance to be 180-inch whitetail. Like he has the frame to be that. Like he's this 7x9 freak who's just a pup. And I was getting pictures of him right there. And so I brought it up and I said, hey man, I'm not obviously trying to tell you what to do, but I want to show you a picture of this deer, and I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't shoot him, because we're not going to shoot him because of the potential of it. And so I showed it to him, and he said 100% on board. Like, you're right, that deer, I don't have pictures of that deer, but like where I was talking to him in the road, I have a trail camera 400 yards from there, and I was getting pictures of him there. So like, it's close, 600 yards of his stand. I'm getting pictures. So eventually that deer's probably going to show up. And so we got on the same page about that. And anyway, this is kind of a funny story talking about social media. So that deer had a huge home range, like 3-4 mile home range. I'd get pictures of him in a big circle out in western Oklahoma. It was during youth rifle season. Are you familiar with Oklahoma Outdoor Outreach?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really cool organization.
They are great.
They take kids with illnesses and all that stuff on hunts. I'm scrolling through, and I see that deer dead. And at first I was like, this just gut drop feeling. You know what I mean? And it turned out that it was killed by a kid in a wheelchair who had to shoot the gun blowing through a straw. And I was like, you are a jerk, Brad. Like, immediately I'm like, I can't be upset. Like, yeah, that deer had unbelievable potential, but this kid who's in a wheelchair killed an 18-pointer.
Yeah.
And here he is, and so the kid's behind it, and they got the deer propped up in front of him.
And you're sitting there looking
and because at first I was like,
you're a tick.
Because I just saw the deer.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't even realize what it was, and I was like, I knew it's him, dude. I had like 3,000 pictures of this deer. I had him as a 2-year-old. He was a 14-pointer as a 2-year-old. He was an 18-pointer as a 3-year-old. And I'm like, dude, if this deer lives 2 more years, he is going to be a freak.
Yeah.
And I see the picture, and immediately my gut drops, and I'm just like, ugh. Yeah. And so I scroll back up, and I see this kid, and I see it's Oklahoma Outdoor Outreach. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to, they tagged the dad.
Yeah.
And so I immediately clicked on him, and he was a fan of the show, watched the show. He's like, oh my gosh, man, I didn't, he's like, I actually saw your truck. Cause I was out there hunting, with some kids. He's like, man, I saw your truck. That's really, really cool. And he's like, I'm sorry I shot, one of y'all's, deer. And I said, no, dude, I'm so pumped for your kid. I said, what I want to do is I want to email you a bunch of trail cam pictures. I got great pictures of that deer. And I said, you having him shoulder mounted? He said, oh yeah, we're going to shoulder mount him. And I said, I want you to send you those pictures. So if you want to print those and have them with a deer, I want you to have those.
Yeah.
And so it was a really cool thing. But, it's so important. You just talk about that too. Like, why is it important for us to work together?
I just think the quality of the herd's better. And I think at the end of the day, your priorities should be, you want what's best for the average hunter. And the guys that are selfish and have egos, they end up losing friends because that's all that guy cares about is big deer.
Yeah, it's like Adam.
And I care more about relationships long term. And if someone else kills a deer, I'm going to be the first one over there. I'm going to high-five him. I'm going to take 25 photos for him of every angle so he can cherish that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that we need to get back to that tribe feeling where we're supporting other people. And if we're all working together, even if only 30% of us are passing up deer and you're working with your neighbor, we're all going to kill better deer.
Yeah. And I think all of us have probably been in that situation where we had a deer that our neighbor killed.
Yeah.
Or that somebody killed. I hunted, the most memorable for me is a buck that was a city limits buck in Sulphur, Oklahoma. The first time I saw him, he was on the golf course in Sulphur, Oklahoma. And I saw him, he crossed the road in front of me, and I was like, holy crap. There's a 160-inch deer that just crossed the road in front of me. He's on the golf course. And so immediately, because I was on staff at the church there at Sulphur, I start like, all right, there's got to be some old ladies that own some ground, or somebody, somebody owns some ground close here. And I found a lady that, half a mile away. And I go in and I put up a trail camera and I put out some feed. And in less than 8 hours, I had a picture of him. And over a year time, I probably got 6,000 pictures of him. Yeah. But I ended up naming him Mistake because he didn't make one. Like, he would stand at the edge of a field until it was completely dark before he'd walk in. Only one time did he walk in, and it was before our cameras now, where like it used to be when we were filming with like the
mini DV cams and
stuff.
The
mini DV cams. Back when it was all tapes.
GL2s,
XL1s. What was that? I got that FX7.
The FX7.
Right? Yeah, over here.
Yeah.
I think that may have been what I was using. And I still got 6 minutes probably of legal shooting light, but we're out of light because we're in heavy timber. and he walked in under me. And Adam Nicholas has been filming for us for a long time, filmed with Buck Ventures for a long time. He's in the tree with me, and he leans over and he says, "If this camera wasn't here, you'd be able to kill Mistake tonight," because he's standing at the base of my tree.
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Good timing."
Well, so I end up, not being able to kill him that night. Get all these pictures of him, but he was just so smart, and he was only 16 inches wide, but he was just baseball bat heavy, real tall, had trash everywhere. Thanksgiving Day, I'm scrolling through Facebook, fixing to eat Thanksgiving dinner, and there he is. He's posted on Facebook, and a farmer a mile and a half away, feeding cows, stuck a rifle out the window and blew him down while he's in the pasture feeding cows and shot him. And I remember how sick I was, but it's like the reality is like, man, that's not my deer.
It's not.
I had pictures of him. He shot him at 7:30 in the morning, and I had pictures of him at 3:30 in the morning eating in front of my camera.
Yeah, I just think we have to drop that's not my deer. We just have to be blessed that we get that deer on camera, and we had the journey of chasing that deer.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that may never get a deer on camera like that, so you have to be grateful when you do get it. But what's nice about social media is you can close that chapter and move on to the next one. And that's where that has to give you some peace.
And it is kind of nice that I know what happened to Mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I wish I was the one behind him. I wish I was the one that was able to kill Mistake. And I got a ton of history with him. But you know what? It's still a great story.
Yeah.
Like, I hunted that dude hard. Like, I would sit, because we were right on the edge of town. I mean, I'd sit on a Friday night, and I'd be in my deer stand, and the Sulphur Band is playing. And so I'm like in the stand, listening to the drum line. Boom, 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 boom. Like, I'm listening to the football game while I'm hunting. Yeah. Like, it's just a cool story.
Yeah.
But because of social media, I did see the chapter end of that deer.
Yeah.
And you're able to fill in the gaps for him that weren't there, that he didn't have before.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing,
Like, as a group, as a collective, you're able to create much better stories and much better long-term fulfillment of that animal than just, I shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's that's a kind of a cool concept.
It's really cool.
And I think bow hunters, most bow hunters really find a buck and they chase after him. And so they're not out there just to shoot something that comes in front of them. And so to be able to include other people in those stories and relationships, just make it that much better.
Yeah.
When you're both working hard together to chase after a deer that it's hard to get in front of you at 20 yards.
Yeah, well, we're fixing to air an episode where Paul Power shoots, 180-plus buck. And we ends up killing him. We get, we post the pictures on social media, and then here come all these people.
Yeah.
Right? And going, well, I had pictures of that deer.
Yeah.
I had pictures of that deer. Where'd you kill that deer at? And so, it wasn't talked about before, but because of social media, for them, it closed a chapter. Yep. And they're going, man, we hunted him hard.
Yep.
We hunted him hard. Well, I remember when Jason Carricker killed his 204 in Oklahoma at Stratford, shot him with a muzzleloader. That deer lived on public ground.
Yep.
That was a public land deer.
Yeah.
And Jason owned just a little bit of ground next to it. He had 40 acres, and he killed him on his 40 acres. Yeah. Well, all of a sudden, we start getting all these messages when we post that deer. People they hunted him on public.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, like he's dead. Like we had pictures of him, and they were like sending us pictures, and it just closed the chapter,
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for social media, we'd never known.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that I do every year is at a show called the Backwoods Show in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
We display bow kills, and Paul is one of those that we've displayed his buck on the wall. And
it's 196.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we just try to get mature deer. It doesn't have to be a 200-inch deer, but we just want someone to shoot a mature deer, and we usually have room for about 8 to 12 bucks on the wall. And we display those every season, and we work with local taxidermists to try to get a good deer mounted in time to be back, to be on the show, to be displayed.
Yeah.
And
that deer's okay.
Yeah.
That deer's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of bow hunters that walk up and be like, hey, I had that deer on camera. And then so I try to connect them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like, hey, are you willing to work with the guy who killed this deer? I'll connect y'all.
Yeah.
And so that creates more relationships too. And I guess my selfish goal is bow hunters should be more like duck hunters. You should high five a a fellow hunter when they get a kill, and turn the chapter and move on to the next one.
Yeah, but duck hunters are awful sensitive too. Those guys, like, you get on those message boards. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever got wandered into a waterfowl social media like group page? Whew, man, it's got a little sorority feel to it. Like, those guys are sensitive about stuff, like their gear. I mean, we started out. We did a lot when we first started, dude. We did a lot of waterfowl hunting. Like, the show was very heavy. We did a lot of waterfowl stuff.
That was way before I've never done anything.
It was way before you. Yeah. Like, before the Red Panda came along. We did a lot of that, and we realized, like, we can't make money doing this. Yeah. Because 74 cents of every dollar spent in the outdoor industry spent on hunting a whitetail deer. Did you know that?
Did not know that.
So, like, that leaves, I know because I say it all the time. So that leaves 26 cents for hunting ducks, hunting turkeys, hunting, everything else. And so, I mean, whitetail drives a market.
Yeah.
And so there's more people that are hunting whitetail than anything else. And so, anyway, so the Backwoods Show is really a cool place for you because you do have a big booth there. It's every March, usually in March, in Oklahoma City. It's a cool venue, kind of our big outdoor show in Oklahoma, and you always display and do that there. And yeah, you're selling merch and stuff, but it's not even about that. We've already said that. It's about camaraderie. Bow hunters being able to come together, do their thing, and be awesome. So, but obviously this isn't what you do full time. You don't run a social media page and all that stuff full time.
Nope.
So, what's your gig, man?
So I'm a chiropractor.
Yes.
I love helping people, allow them to stay mobile and active. I teach them a lot of exercises. So I get a lot of bow hunters that find out I'm a chiropractor and they try to drive all the way to Norman to come see me, and I'm like, no, man, there's a guy 30 minutes from you or 10 minutes from you. Let's get you in with him and get you connected, and that's the goal, is to keep people in the outdoors.
Yeah.
I used to not be a huge fan of crossbows, but at the end of the day, if that guy's, if that allows him to get in the woods more, I'm okay with it.
Dude, I feel, and the same way, like, oh, it's kind of cheating or whatever. But on the flip side of that, crossbows have saved bow hunting.
Yeah.
We have to, like us compound guys, like, we just have to accept that and be good with it, because it's about the longevity of our sport.
Yeah.
Right? And generating funds, because, those crossbow companies have allowed people, for whatever reason. You're a chiropractor. There's guys who just can't draw bow back. Yeah. There's been issues, there's guys like Adam who need to lift weights more.
Yeah.
So they can pull a bow back.
I'm like on the Book of Eli, I like to use my feet, that laid down prone, draw back position, close the eyes, just feel the shot.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how I do it.
Honestly, Adam, that's probably what'll happen when you go into the woods. You'll probably go sit on the ground underneath some cedar tree. A deer's going to walk out. You haven't got set up yet. You got the camera, but your bow's at your feet. And so somehow you decide to put your feet against the limbs, pull back an arrow, and you'll probably 10-ring him at 68 yards.
Well, I was planning on doing that, drop out of the tree with that shillelagh thing that we used in that dinosaur hunt. Just right on top of the deer, pierce the heart, ride them out, I was going for that.
As long as you take a good photo when you're done. It didn't happen.
So do you have a ladle page, like Oklahoma Ladle Hunter?
Not yet.
The Shillelagh Hunters of Oklahoma.
Yeah, what do we got to do to get that going? I think there would be. I'm sure there's some guys in southeast Oklahoma that are shillelagh hunting.
Yeah, you're sitting on a gold mine, Trebek.
That's right.
I think you can kind of group it with the Oklahoma spear hunters. They're out there too. So.
Yeah, can you spear hunt a deer? You can't spear hunt a deer in Oklahoma, I don't think.
I don't know. I know I've seen a hog.
Yeah, I've seen Tim Wells do it.
I think you do about anything with a hog, right?
Yeah. Well, Texas you can. Texas you can kill them with a grenade, flamethrower, whatever. Let's kill these pigs.
Planting a bomb in the ground.
Yeah, whatever we got to do to kill pigs is, and I'm okay with it.
Here's some Kool-Aid laced with tannerite. Enjoy. Nom, 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 nom.
Just blow them up. Shoot them and they'll explode. Anyway, so you're a chiropractor. Did you know that I wanted to be a chiropractor? Did I tell you that?
Mm-mm.
You know that? So that was my goal when I graduated high school. I worked for Dr. Frank Starnes in Ada.
Yep.
And we kind of planned it out. I was going to committed to play football at a school in Kansas, and I was going to do my 4 years of college, get my undergrad out of the way, and then I was going to go to Cleveland Chiropractic in Kansas City because I was already up there. in Kansas. It wouldn't be very far away. And I was going to go to school there, and then I was going to come back. And he was like, man, you come back and work with me for a couple years. And he said, then I'm going to be ready to retire. Yeah. And he was like, you can buy my practice. And I was like, man, that's a great idea. And then God called me to the ministry and ruined it all. And so anyway, so I ended up not doing it. But, man, I'm a huge fan of chiropractic. Like, I know a lot of people still are kind of skeptical of the chiropractic aspect of things. And so I know we're not here to talk about chiropractic. But, like, I remember the first time I went to a chiropractor, I hurt my hip. In Allen, Oklahoma, we had great facilities.
I couldn't hold it in for very long.
We had great facilities, okay, in the athletic department. I mean, top-notch stuff, okay? And our practice field was a pasture. And I don't know what, and I don't know why our coach had us running pass routes next to the bar ditch, but we did. Yeah. And
make sure you miss them cows.
Yeah. It was in town. I mean, but it was rough. I mean, it wasn't a great facility for practice, but we had a big bar ditch, and I remember running pass routes next to the bar ditch, and we were running fade routes, and I was a freshman in high school, I think, and I'm running, and the ball's like it's kind of thrown not over this shoulder but over the other, and so I kind of had to turn my body, and as I turned this way, I stepped, and the ground wasn't there because I was in the bar ditch.
Found it. You found it.
And so like it twisted me, and dude, it jacked up my hip and like lower back, and I couldn't walk, and like, well, you got to go chiropractor. And I went for like 8-10 weeks, and dude, like I was a believer. Like I was like, I'm in like this because the pain I was in, even at 15 years old, like I was hurt, dude, and it saved me. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know what you tell somebody that's skeptical of chiropractic.
Just do it for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. We restore movement, and the goal is that if you get things to balance out, their quality of lives can be better. And that's where those people that say, you're going to have to go to chiropractor the rest of your life. Well, you understand how much better your body feels when it's moving. But you can get the same way from stretching properly. It's just most people are lazy, and they sit behind a computer, and they drive all day long. So we're not intended to sit that long. And
right there.
So
me.
Getting out and shooting your bow is one of the best things you can do for your posture.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
It's just in creating that movement where you get extension back in your life.
Bow hunting, chiropractor endorsed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've already talked about that. Like, you even, for guys that are bow hunters, I mean, there's exercises you even tell them about, like, how do I strengthen this area? Like, so for Adam here, who's not a bow hunter, like, what are, like, you're not. Like,
so start at the bottom.
So what would you say to a guy like Adam who's going to be new into it? What are some exercises that he, I mean, he's pulled 70 pounds on my bow, but it almost kills you, right? I mean, you would.
Yeah, I can do it 3 times.
Right. And so, like,
and
how do I gain some strength? What are some exercise things that I can do, from a chiropractic standpoint even, and physical therapy standpoint?
So core strength is huge, especially when stabilizing your lower core and pulling and rotating in another direction. So the simplest one would be just a plank, just to get long and tall and strong in that position. So a lot of people think core is, I got to do more ab crunches. But you have to your back needs to be stronger than your abs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And most people's aren't. So that's why they have problems when they strengthen their abs and their back gets weaker, and they have more problems with their back.
That's what I always used to say is, like, my back hurts because my front is heavier than my back.
Yeah. Well,
it wasn't because of abs.
That's what looks good in the mirror is you're looking at the front side, so you only care about your biceps. You don't care about the posterior aspect of the body.
My front didn't look good in the mirror either.
But this guy's lost. How much weight you lost now?
34 pounds.
In how long?
Since 11 weeks.
That's pretty good, dude. Like, you're killing it. You're killing it, buddy.
Feels good.
So, Kreg, how would people so let's say somebody's listening to the podcast, and maybe they're not from Oklahoma, but they want to follow along. Like, they care. Because there are a lot of folks that kind of feel like Oklahoma is kind of a sleeper state when it comes to big deer, and you're a great resource for them to be able to see deer that are killed in Oklahoma, and they, maybe that's something they care about, or they're looking to find an outfitter in Oklahoma to come hunt with, and they're like, man, I'd like to know about the quality of deer. Like, you follow an Oklahoma Bowhunter, yeah, it's kind of geared towards Oklahoma Bowhunters, but like you said, there's folks that follow from other states as well. So what's the best way for people to connect to Oklahoma Bowhunter?
So we're on Facebook. There's a Facebook page. You can just type in Oklahoma Bowhunter. There's now a group that I started this summer that you can follow, and it's a private group, so you have to be accepted into it.
Would you accept Adam into it?
As long as you have a normal name and not something that you're about to sell a bunch of Oakleys.
I'm out
on our group, then we're going to accept
I've got
you.
Rolexes.
But if you're a part of more groups than you have friends on Facebook, you probably will not be accepted.
Okay. There are those guys.
Yeah. They have like 900 groups that they follow, and they have 9 friends, and so
that's a shame.
That doesn't look like a real person. It looks like somebody that's trying to come in and advertise. And we're trying to find genuine bow hunters that want to learn more, want to share stories, want to connect with other like-minded bow hunters. And yeah, you might live in Kansas, but your mother-in-law has land in Oklahoma, so you are an Oklahoma bow hunter. And so we try to get, we post those. If a guy kills a deer out of state, we'll post it. We just don't add the logo to it. So then that way it kind of lets people know this was killed out of state.
Yeah.
So I've been posting some antelope and some elk kills, and so I don't add the logo to it. And some people are like, well, how come you didn't add that to it? Because I just want to show that's out of state.
Right.
And when we watermark it when it's killed in Oklahoma.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't realize that. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And then also Instagram. They follow you on Instagram.
We're on Twitter. I do a better job on Facebook because I'm always on it and it's easier to create content. But we do post on all the platforms,
right? Just
not as often on the other ones.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw it was a little more active on Instagram this last year.
Yep.
So post pics. Man. Kreg, I know you have to leave. Like, you can't hang out with us all day. But, dude, thank you so much for coming on the podcast with us. And so, guys, if you don't follow Oklahoma Bowhunter, I highly recommend doing that. It's just great content.
It's
like if you
positive.
Want to see, it is.
Any negative comment gets deleted, and I really don't get a whole lot of that. It's it's the community, it's quality hunters.
Yeah.
We just try to be positive for other guys, and people really love it.
Yeah, I think that's stinking awesome. And so, guys, make sure you go follow Oklahoma Bowhunter on Facebook. And I know it's not about merch, but he has merch for sale. If you're an Oklahoma Bowhunter and you want to rep that and be proud of that, you got shirts, you got hats, you got bumper stickers, you get all that stuff that people can check out too. And just message you about. And I hear there's a website coming.
Yes.
Rumor has it.
There's an Oklahoma Bowhunter website, and that's going to be oklahomabowhunter.tv.
Yep.
And that's in the future coming.
Yep. Full Strut Media. We had a great meeting this morning.
So we're going to be building a website for Oklahoma Bowhunter, which we're really excited about being a part of. And, as an Oklahoma Bowhunter, being able to help connect people with that too, and just another place. And you got a lot of ideas that are going to come with that too, and some more interaction that can take place, more community.
In the future, we're going to be posting some of those landscape photos on the website, and in future archery shops, we're trying to just bring it all together, create that platform where bow hunters can share their story, and really connect with others, and so I think it's really going to bring it all together.
Awesome.
And it's good working with you guys and to build a website, than to work with some random company that I'm never going to know, and you guys, I can call you up and complain if something's not working right.
I'll bet call Adam.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Do you have Adam's
phone number?
Do you have Adam's phone number?
But
I feel like I say that a lot.
I think it also goes back to that camaraderie. We should support each other's businesses.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like if you can support another bow hunter that
why not do it?
Get their car fixed by another bow hunter. It's you have more to connect with.
Except that at that point, no one gets any work done because you just all get together and talk about deer and everybody. It's like, when's that car go? Oh, I was gonna work on that today, but since you've been here, we've talked for 14 hours straight.
Yeah,
so
we've just talked about deer hunting. So Kreg, you're a coffee drinker. Our official sponsor of the podcast is Deer Camp Coffee.
Nice.
And so I'm going to have you leave here today with some Dominant Buck Dark Roast.
Nice.
This is a gift for being a guest. You know what's happening right now, Adam? Is that all of our previous guests are going,
They're like, we've
what the
been
heck?
gypped.
We've been ripped off.
Gypped.
Like I can see Jess Bond right now being like, are you freaking kidding me?
Jessica's like, what?
See, I could live like 20 minutes from you, and
Yeah.
you didn't even give me any coffee.
We'll
we
drop
didn't.
it off.
We didn't have.
Yeah, we didn't have an official
have an
drink
official.
sponsor
By
at that
gosh.
point. So.
Anyway, so Deer Camp, so I want you to leave with that. Take that with you today. And I know you're a coffee drinker because you got a coffee cup with you today. So anyway,
I also feel like, just because we haven't, we need to acknowledge the presence of something special in the room right now.
Well, the baby blues.
The baby blues.
Craig, I want you to know how prestigious the baby blues are. That is my 4-year-old son Spider-Man headphones.
If we were smart, we would have had every guest like sign them.
Oh, that would have been really cool. That would have been really cool. We need just like a picture of them that we can have people sign.
Like
That's a great idea.
The Polaroid. It's the Polaroids in the hunting shop. Like
we
have
talked about
at the very
get a
beginning.
Polaroid. Here, I'm just going to take a picture of you in the baby blues. Okay, I'm going to start doing this with every one of them.
I'm first for.
You're going to
Craig
be
is like,
first
what?
Photo.
All right, the baby blues. All right, here we go. That's the first one. I love it.
Oh, man.
That's so great. That's a great
I'm
idea.
just gonna start stamping them right
Just
here.
stamping them all behind me. I love it.
Putting them on the wall.
That is so good.
The old wall of shame.
It kind of is. Like here we are. Like we've got these nice Sony headphones, and then our guests.
Our guests are stuck
welcome
with toddler headphones and a mic from
Hey, but
1982.
I tell you what, though, I gave you a bag of coffee. You know what I mean? Like, but honestly, thank you so much for coming on today, being on the podcast, and obviously for us, we want to promote Oklahoma Bowhunter and just the camaraderie of it. Like you said, make us all better hunters. Let's make a community, be positive, and grow the sport, man.
Yep. Just y'all got to keep up with Paul. He's the one keeping Final Descent moving. So.
We don't like
Dude,
Paul.
hey, he was
his
just
wife
on.
might have sent in more photos than you have. So.
That's true. Like that is true. Hey, did you know that Paul told me that he says I'm going to retire? He said, dude, after OD, so he killed. What did he call that? What was the other buck? 79?
Yeah, something
89.
like that.
I can't remember. 8 by 9.
Yeah.
The 196. He kills him, and he's like, oh man. And then he gets OD, and then he becomes obsessed with OD. And he was hunting OD while he was hunting the other buck. And this is on the same property. I mean, the dude's killed a 196, like I think 180, whatever OD is. And he's like, I'm retiring, man. He's like, I just can't obsess over. And I'm over here going, you are so
Craig.
crap,
Craig,
dude.
do you believe that?
Do you believe that Paul Powers is going to retire from hunting big bucks?
He might be setting up his kids on good deer, but he's not retiring.
That's exactly right. Paul is not.
He's just going to vicariously live through his children now.
Yeah, all of his kids. He's got a 7-year-old that's going to be killing 190s. You know what I mean? Like that's what's going to happen. Because Paul it is about ground and it is all those things. But Paul is a guy that has that it factor. That 196. Paul killed that deer, not in a tree stand, not in a blind. He got pictures of that deer 3 days in a row doing the exact same thing. He didn't go put up a ground blind. He didn't put up a tree stand. That joker went and sat underneath a tree on the ground and shot that deer at 18 yards with no cover, just sitting on the ground with a bow, not a crossbow, compound. Drew on him, shot him quartering away, and the deer died in 50 yards. He watched him fall. Not everybody can do that. Like there's some people just have an it factor. Yes. And I hate it.
It's meant to be. Some deer just have someone's name on it, and it's just.
Well, what I'm scared of is that my deer are walking around, and I'm like, does that say Paul Powers on it? What the? Why is Paul's name on my deer? I feel like every deer, like his name may be on yours, and you don't even know it. Yeah. You know, he's just one of those guys that just kind of has that it factor.
It's in the last name.
I guess it is.
It's in the power.
It's in the power.
It's in the power.
Oh, my gosh. I hope he doesn't ever listen to this podcast. But he was just on a podcast, one of our, maybe even the last one.
Yeah, it got a little vernacularly jumbled. We were speaking some heavy Okie.
Yeah, we were. He was making fun of me and Paul. Me and Paul grew up together like little kids.
They were speaking Roger Mills County.
We did. We got a little Roger Mills County going. So, anyway, I know Craig, you got to go to work, but we appreciate you being on the podcast today, buddy. And we need to do it again sometime.
Sounds good, man.
All right, buddy. Man, that was great having Craig with us.
That was a lot of fun getting to talk about just community, just the community of the bow hunter world, and how we can be better at promoting each other and not trying to be turds to each other.
Yeah.
I believe that's the way you worded it.
I think it kind of was. Yeah, we were all on the same
like
team, and we need to be promoting the sport, growing the sport. That's kind of what it's all about. Anyway, so you're ready to join the ranks of being an Oklahoma Bowhunter?
I am ready. I mean, Cade.
He's told you.
Cade told me, hey, just let me know, and I just haven't.
Yeah, you don't even know what your draw length is.
I don't know. And I mean, you told me, hey, we just need to go down to Choctaw Archery and
go to an archery shop. You just need to walk in and say, hey guys, I need to get fitted for a bow. I need to know what I need to be.
I need to know my things.
I need to know my things. I need one that I can pull back that's 40 pounds so I can legally hunt. That's 40 or 45. I can't remember in Oklahoma. But get you there so you can draw back and sling some arrows.
So that comment brings me to my next thing. I want to talk about your egotistical, maybe egomaniacal.
Really, that's what brought it on.
I'd love to discuss this creation that you've made of the Brad Clay Facebook fan page.
It was a really hard decision. I want you to know it really was. It really was a hard decision. Because gosh. I don't feel like there's anything more
pretentious,
tool-baggish.
It is quite toolish
to make a Facebook fan page for yourself.
For yourself,
it was so bad. I'm not kidding. Like I struggled with it for a long time, and I had people in my life telling me I needed to do it.
You need to do
Kendall.
This? Yeah,
Kendall's like, you need to do it because it's Kendall Jones, and that's she has 1 million followers. When Matt Hull worked for us, he was like, you need to push this. You need to be pushing your page more.
Mm-hmm.
Doing this. And I was just like, your brand, whatever. Like my brand. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, what does that look like?
This is like cringeworthy, uncomfortable. Just even talking about it.
It is, bro. Like it's uncomfortable. Like we just talked social media with Kreg, and here we are talking about. Here I am on this side of it, and I've created a fan page. I want you to go and you know what? I
want to know the people that are like avidly,
and there are, bro.
To have people on this show that are avidly following.
One of them is my grandma's sister-in-law.
Yeah,
like a great aunt kind of a thing.
I'm okay with that one.
But there are other people that like everything that is posted there. But going back to why I did it. Okay, you can sit here and say it's this egotistical Brad Clay. Whatever.
I did say that.
I know you did.
I also said egomaniacal.
I don't even know what that means.
It means that you're maniacally. You are completely and totally.
You can't use the word in the definition.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
It means that you're completely and totally obsessed with yourself.
Oh my gosh.
It's a step above egotistical.
Do you really feel that way?
You hesitated.
You did. You hesitated. You gave the hesitation.
No, I don't really think that most of the time. Okay. I love it just because I know how uncomfortable it makes you. It is beautiful.
It does make me uncomfortable.
It's to the really point where when we go to trade shows, I feel like getting business cards printed to be like, "Hey, have you liked the Brad Clay fan page?" Hand them out to people. Just to watch what happens right now happen over and over again.
I'm gonna delete it. I'm done. I'm deleting the page.
I'm out.
I'm deleting the Brad Clay page.
I'm done.
I'm done with it, bro. Like it's over. I'm done with it. We're just moving on. So the reason I created the page is similar to a situation. I knew this was going to come up, and that you were going to love this aspect of an episode.
I'm crying.
I knew that. I knew going in that this was going to happen.
Oh, gosh.
Are you good yet, bro?
That was the reason. I'm going to mute myself.
It's because I wanted people to think I'm cool. I'm kidding.
The real reason's even funny to me, though.
What do you mean? You don't even... Okay. Let's just talk. Can we just talk about it?
All right. Maybe it'll help you when you say it out loud.
I feel like a giant just bag of tools.
Bag of monkey wrenches.
Just a big tool right now.
Well, let's talk about it. It's healthy.
It's healthy.
It's first stage recovery.
Similar to how Oklahoma Bowhunter started. You can only have 5,000 friends.
Yes.
I continually reach 5,000 friends on Facebook, and then I go in and I delete people. And then I get added back. Like, people message requests from the show. They'll be like, oh, they find me, and they're people that I don't know. Or I'll go speak at a church. I'll go speak at an event. And
you get blitzkrieg.
I just get blitzed with 30 Facebook.
Just tons of people.
Yeah. And I was like,
I'll
look
fans.
and I'll be like, well, they're in Harrisburg, Illinois.
Yeah.
Well, I just spoke in Harrisburg, Illinois.
Yeah.
So guess what? I know that that's how they want to connect. But on the flip side of that, like, I feel like there needs to be a separation a little bit to protect my family.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so this is where it's come from, because a lot of people don't realize this. I haven't talked about this much on the show or on the podcast, but I get the occasional death threat.
Occasional.
I get an occasional person
said
coming
so
on.
Nonchalantly.
It used to really bother me.
Yeah.
Like, it used to really bother me when somebody would say, I'm going to hunt you down and kill you like you kill
just
those
like
animals.
You kill those
yeah,
animals.
It's anti-hunters. And so that's happened multiple times. And what really brought on the need, you're going to feel really bad for making fun of me. Okay? Because you're going to be like,
I bet I will.
I bet. I really do. Not that long ago, I got an email from someone who said, I'm going to wait at the bus stop and I'm going to kill your kids when they get off the bus.
That is a serious keyboard warrior that's saying that stuff.
Yeah. And so here's the deal. You can say whatever you want about me. I'm a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost 40, right? To quote your boy.
To quote the old Gundy Ball.
You can say whatever you want about me. You want to threaten me, all those things. Like, that's great, bro. Like, I'm a big dude. Like, I mean, a good Christian man, but I'll throw some hands, like whatever we got to do, bro, you can say whatever you want about me. But like when somebody threatens my kids.
Oh yeah. That's a new ball game.
That's all new. Like that one got investigated.
Yeah. That's a new ball game. That's for real deal.
And then it turned out there was somebody who was in Germany.
Yeah.
They weren't stateside. Not a lot we could do authoritative wise with authorities to do anything. But that was a legitimate threat. And so it brought about going, okay, I can't just let any random person be my friend on Facebook because I post about my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm posting, being at my daughter's soccer game or my son's baseball game or, you know what I mean? Like doing things with my kids. I post that stuff on my personal page. And no offense, but some of y'all, I don't want you to know what my kids are up to. I mean, is that wrong?
No, it's not wrong.
I mean,
how many times have I come to you and said, I'm going to take my YouTube channel down?
Yeah, a bunch. Yeah.
I'm going to take it down. It's because I don't like people knowing. Like, it's because the occasional idiot
that makes a comment.
That makes a comment. And you go, this isn't worth it.
Yeah. No, and so it came down to a situation why I started the Brad Clay fan page on Facebook, and I've invited all of my friends. Did you follow it? I don't think
you know who I am.
I don't think we're buddies. You don't.
The last time I checked Facebook was maybe 2 weeks ago. So it's probably
been before that.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even really know how I would like it.
Well, I invited you to like it. Like, it would have been a
appreciate
notification that you would have gotten.
I don't have a notifications on either. That's the problem.
Okay. Anyway, so the real reason that I started the Brad Clay fan page was to protect my kids and to cause a little bit of separation. And I don't want that to offend somebody. Like, I don't want somebody to be like, you send me a friend request and I don't accept it. I interact with people just the same on the Brad Clay page as I do my personal page. But I just don't feel comfortable letting it. And there's people that I'm friends with now that I don't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know you, dude. Like we live in scary times.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. My daughter is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Like, she's gorgeous. She is going to be, and I love that she's confident. Like, there's a couple dudes at school that are in love with Ava. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say any names of some of them, but I want all of them to know that I own lots of guns, and I will go to prison. That's all I'm saying.
Won't hesitate.
Will not hesitate to go to prison to protect my daughter. Okay?
Yeah.
But my daughter, Ava, is going to be a beautiful girl. I got 3 boys. I don't trust all y'all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't trust all of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so I started to protect my kids. I got a legitimate threat one time, you know, not that long ago about my kids. And so I started the Brad Clay page. And so, you know, if you're out there listening, like how I can connect to you, obviously I respond to all the Final Descent stuff. You can message us on Instagram. You can find Brad Clay _Final Descent on TikTok. You can find me. I respond to any stuff on Twitter. It's just, you know, search FD Outdoors, Instagram FD Outdoors. It comes to me. I want to see all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to send you can go to finaldescentoutdoors.com. You can send an email, however you want to communicate. But just on a personal standpoint, it's easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel more comfortable protecting my personal page from the average Joe Schmo that I don't know.
Yeah, and it makes you everybody's Facebook friend group. Usually when I get on Facebook, that's one of the things that I end up doing is whittling, going through current friends and
deciding you don't want to be friends with them anymore.
Deciding that, hey, the last time I talked to you was 4 years ago. You're out.
Yeah.
Or it is and just from doing the podcast or
but whose fault is that, Adam?
From being I don't like people very much, so
I get it.
I say that I do like people. I do like getting to talk with people. I'm just not. I have a.
You could go recluse.
I'm a introvert through and through.
You are 100%. Because that's what we talk about. That's why it makes our business together, Full Strip Media, work well.
Yeah.
Because you are extremely talented when it comes to media work.
Yeah.
And we want to build a website. We want to do CGI, videography, photography, whatever it is. Like, if you don't know how to do it, you figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
But you're not great at just
new relationships. Like, it's like you said, like, I'm not the bubbly. I'm not the out in front guy. I run out of things to talk about within about 1 minute. And
then you're like, well, and big gulps, huh? Well, see you later.
See you later.
So and that's the end of it.
That's the thing is, like, and when we have a relationship with a company for a long time, like,
that's great.
I'm great. I could talk to these people for a long time.
Yeah.
But with new, I just don't have it. Mm-hmm. I don't got it. Mm-hmm. I just don't got it.
Right.
But that's where you come in and you can drive that ship, and I just tag along the back of it and throw in the occasional color commentary.
So my gifting, we just said what your gifting is. Like, you built your freaking dining room table.
Built my freaking house.
That too. But, like, it's frustrating because I'm not handy. I'm not good at that. We talk about lanes. We already talked about this on the podcast. Like, it's not my lane, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that stuff. And it bothers me that you are really good at it. Like, you can do freaking anything and you do it with excellence, and it's bothersome. You know? It is. Like, you're good at it. But I have to remind myself
something for it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you know how to do that. I need you to do it with me. And you do it for me now. But like, I get frustrated sometimes with myself because, like, I can't do some of the stuff that you do. You know, like, I just edited part of an episode, and it was fun, and it's fine, but it's not you.
It was good. I didn't touch anything in the first 3 blocks. but 2.5 blocks, I guess.
Yeah, because I didn't have some of the footage you did, so you kind of finished it up for me. But still, you just have a touch. Like you just do, Adam. It's just like you went to school for it. Wait, you did.
Oh, wait, you did.
But you're good at it. Like you're good at those things. And though that I look at it and say, I'm okay at it, but you're great at it. And so anyway, but then I have to remind myself, a lot. Like, man, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Adam when it comes to Full Strut Media to do a lot of the back end apps work of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to remind myself, like, no, Brad, you're important too. And I feel like that sometimes, like, no, Brad, you're needed here too.
No, you're special. Just the way you are.
Yeah, God made you perfect. You're perfect. I feel like I have to remind myself of that a little bit. But I do know the importance that how God's gifted me is that I can carry on a conversation with anybody.
To where I'm like, hey, we need to go.
Yeah, no, it is. It is that way.
What do I call it?
I don't know.
Tour Guide Brad Clay.
Tour Guide
Brad Clay's here, everybody. Yeah.
I've never heard you say that to my face, I don't think.
I've said that to your face multiple times.
Well, I was engaged in a conversation and I didn't hear you.
It's usually when you're wrapping up the end of the conversation, you walk over to me and I'm like, Tour Guide Brad Clay, is he signed off? Are we done? Or
yeah, I got him signed up. Yeah. You sent him a contract.
Tour Guide Brad Clay.
So I feel like my gifting is to make people feel comfortable and to make people feel like I feel like I can have a conversation with somebody and I can find some, like, no matter who it is, where I'm at, I can find some thread for us to relate to one another.
Yeah. I
can find a thread to relate to one another, and then we can have a conversation. At the end of that conversation, go, I really like that guy. And it's not that I'm trying to ploy. It's just that's who I am.
Yeah. Well, like,
I'm a people person.
You're a people person. There's people person, and there's people that are good with select relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like where you and I have talked about how we differ. Like you've said, like I have a select few very, very close relationships. Very, very few close relationships. But I know
a million
people. As where I don't know very many people.
Mm-hmm.
But I have multiple very, very close.
Yeah, we are different. We are different in that. Like I don't have a lot of close friends.
Yeah.
I mean, my circle of close friends is really, really small. And I think people think that I do just because, it's Brad, TV guy, like he's going to have all his friends.
Yeah, you're a public face. And
right.
Whatever.
My circle is really small.
It's very small.
Very, very small. Like one hand.
Oh, yeah. It's a one-hand circle.
Now, acquaintances?
Oh, you got a bajillion.
Bro.
Like when we go to a trade show, I'm like, please don't stop at this booth. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, because I probably know somebody.
He met this guy through their second aunt 17 years ago at this other trade show, and now we got to talk to him for about 2.5 hours.
It happens every time.
Game Face has shut down many, many days ago.
And it happens. It just happened at NBS.
It did.
I mean, just random people that I would know that live in Ohio or Pennsylvania or, Wisconsin. Shout out to Britt Jill.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just this just what we're good at, and I know that that's my gifting is people.
Yeah. And we talk about it so many times on the podcast, and I mean even just when we're not recording anything, that God made us different, and He made us for a reason, and He made us as a great. For somehow it works. This team works really well because of how it's been established. And there's times when we are weak in one area. Like there may be times where I've said to you when we were in the middle of Full Strut stuff, and normally like I would be building a website or doing whatever, and I'm like, hey dude, I don't have time for this one. And you're like, you know what? I'm in. I'll do this. I'll jump in on this one.
Yeah.
And get it going.
Yeah.
And it goes like that even in life and every day.
Well, and I think I appreciate too that you allow me. You don't put pressure on me always to hop in. Like I want to hop in on stuff and on the work aspect of it, but you kind of give me the freedom to build relationships that leads to more work.
Well, that's the whole point.
Just like with Kreg, right?
Yeah.
Like Kreg, in this episode, the reason Craig's in studio today is we had a meeting today talking about building a website for Oklahoma Bowhunter.
Yeah.
And so you kind of like, hey, you build relationships and let our work speak for itself with Full Strip Media, and then go from there.
Yeah.
And like, hey, bring the work, and if it's more work than we can handle, guess what? We'll hire somebody.
Exactly. And that's the goal.
Right.
That's the goal, is to build.
Binky, what's the plan today?
Binky, today. I can't even remember how he talks.
He's like, Binky, do you remember what today?
But how does
what
he
are we
talk?
going to do today? He's like, today, I can't remember.
Today, we're going to take over the world. But I can't remember how he sounds.
It's Binky and the brain. Oh, man. That's throwback.
That's super, man. That fat kid run every day home from school to be able to watch that. Power Rangers. What are the other shows?
I never got into Power Rangers.
There was a couple other
shows.
Couldn't do it. Oh, gosh. I did a Dragon Ball Z kick for a little bit. That's too much for me. Even too much for me.
I like girls.
Yeah. It was.
I'm kidding. My kids like Pokemon.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of Pokemon
Pokemons
cards.
and Power Rangers and Dragon Ball Zs. And
I was I watched Binky in the Brain.
It's Pinky.
Pinky in the Brain.
Yeah,
that's right. Do you remember Hey Dude on Nickelodeon?
Oh yeah.
Hey Dude. There's a girl in there named Brad, and it really bothered me.
I didn't get to watch that show very much.
What was that? What's the girl? So on that show, the blonde girl, it's Ben Stiller's wife.
Yeah.
What's her name?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm horrible with actors, but we like to talk about this on another podcast, on another time. But my dad was so cheap that we would only have cable for about 2 week spans every 3 months.
When they offered the free,
free trial.
Free trial. Your dad was a lawyer.
A lawyer with 4 kids.
I don't know. Still sucks it out of you.
Kind of drains it real fast.
Oh, I get it. No, I totally get it.
Oh gosh.
I watched Dukes of Hazzard, man.
I didn't ever watch Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, dude, me and my cousin Ryan, we watched Dukes of Hazzard every day. Just a good old boy. I used to have a '68 Dodge Charger.
You do. We've talked about. We touched on that a few times.
I think we have. Anyway, but you're right, man. God puts people in our life, and He pairs us with people that your strengths in a lot of ways are my weakness, and vice versa. And that's what makes our partnership and what we do so good.
And to take it even further back to what Kreg was talking about with the whole point of Oklahoma Bowhunter is being, hey guys, we're better together.
Yeah, that was a great line that he used.
We are better together than we are apart.
It's a great word.
And we're able to create better stories, create better deer hunting projects throughout all of this, being able to understand the whole scope of everything, but then also able to manage the hurt. Like it becomes something bigger than yourself.
When it comes to Christianity,
really fast.
When it comes to Christianity, there's no such thing as Lone Ranger Christianity.
No, there's not.
Lone Ranger wasn't alone. He had Tonto.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he wasn't even alone.
No.
There's no such thing as Lone Ranger Christianity. Like, we are built for community.
Mm-hmm.
I was having a conversation with somebody recently, and they were hurt by the church.
Yeah.
And we're like, I'm not going back. Like, I have a hard time going back to church because of judgmental attitude of somebody in the church. And I told them on my line.
Yeah.
If you ever find the perfect church, don't join it, because if you join it, you'll ruin it.
Yeah.
The church is flawed is because it's made up of me and you, and we're flawed people.
Yeah.
Amen?
That's the point.
Right.
That's the point.
So,
but
here's the deal.
There because of that.
I go to church not because of who sits to my left or to my right. I go to church because of what Jesus did for me, and I have the opportunity. Mm-hmm. I have the privilege to go and worship Him and thank Him for what He's done for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're built for community. We need one another. And so that's definitely the situation with us. And so, I guess my challenge as we wrap up this podcast is to say, who's your circle? Like, who's in your circle?
Yeah.
Who's in it that is bringing you strength, that's bringing you that encouragement? Who's doing that for you?
Yeah.
We need the church. We need one another.
Oh, yeah.
When I say the church, I'm not talking about a building. I'm talking about the people of it.
Yeah.
We need that in our life. We need that community, because together, as Kreg said, together we're better. And not just in deer hunting.
Yeah.
But in life.
And if you have that circle, we just as we challenged everybody on an episode or two ago, not podcast, but the TV show, do you have those people in your life that are close, great friends, but you've never talked about God?
Taking their relationship to the next level.
You've never taken it to that next level of saying, hey, let's draw closer towards Christ together.
I had no idea where that was going because I don't remember our devos after we do them.
Yeah, you shut them out.
I don't have room. Like my brain's like we don't. You've done like 130. You've done like 130 of these
max
now.
Capacity.
We're at max capacity. It's got to be removed. But no, that's a great word. I do remember that one. Adam, how can people find you on the social medias?
You can do it at Hurley Films. That's HEARLYFILMS. And
main locations YouTube.
Main locations YouTube.
That's right.
Post homesteading videos and family videos.
Building fence.
Yeah,
I just watched that.
Just did some under cabinet shelf lighting.
Wow, super
good.
A
blessing.
Yeah.
And Casey actually danced through the camera. I could not
excited about it.
No, like she was just, I don't know. It's the confidence boost of losing 25 pounds apparently.
Hey, congratulations on that.
She's rocking it.
I'm sneaking up on that 30.
I know.
Coming for it, baby.
You're there.
Anyway, you can find.
What about you now?
I'm like 20. I don't know. I mean, almost 25 pounds. We're getting close to it.
Yeah.
So killing it, loving it, feeling good. Anyway, my grandma noticed.
Yes, she did.
She's like, my gosh, I can tell you've lost some weight. Let me make you some biscuits and gravy and sausage for
some
breakfast.
Goulash to pack that back right where it was.
And I said, no, Grandma. Anyway, you can find Final Descent Outdoors on all the social medias as well. FD Outdoors on Instagram and Twitter. Final Descent Outdoors on Facebook. You can find me on TikTok at BradClay_Final Descent, and also visit our website, FinalDescentOutdoors.com. Order some of that merch. I'm rocking one of our shirts here today. A hat. I think this one's out of stock right now, but it'll be back in. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in, watching, and listening to our podcast.
The old friggin' podcast.
Hey, next one, I have a feeling, is going to be flawless.
Mm-hmm.